Sharing her thoughts on Reimagine collaboration through empowered frontline essential service workers, I welcome Sneha Trivedi, Senior Specialist Modern Work, Global Black Belt, Microsoft India. Sneha has been aligning with Microsoft's vision to realize the mission to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more by driving digital transformation with focus on first-line workers and enable and empower them with modern workplace solutions. Welcome,
Yeah,
Sneha.
thank you. So, thank you, team. And once again, a warm welcome to the audience here. A quickly brief, I think Garma did touch upon my background. I basically support Microsoft, Asia team on enabling the frontline employees, right? And we have been doing a lot of research in this space in terms of what has been the challenging needs of these frontline employees, right? And how Microsoft as an organization can help you, mitigate those challenges through our solutions, because we have a very focused solution that we have developed around the needs of these frontline workers, right? Quickly moving ahead to the next slide. You must be wondering, who are the frontline employees that I'm referring to, like as an organization. So it's very important to look at the organization as a whole, right from the boardroom through your information and knowledge workers, as we call the senior level or the middle level management, and till your last mile, who are actually these service workers or the field workers who are doing those data collections. So as we call, they are the face of your organization, and they are also the heart of your organization, because they are the key people who drive your organization. It's very important to look holistically how we are empowering that entire ecosystem of the employees, right? And these are the five key pillars that we look at digital transformation from, right? And Amit did touch upon the whole transform, optimize, engage the employees, right? So the first pillar here talks about how we can offer the services to gain the citizen support. So citizens here for your organization becomes the external key stakeholders for us. So how we can look at enabling those services. The second pillar here talks about, how you can modernize your both IT as well as the skilling needs of your employees through these capabilities that we can give them, the tools and the technology that we can give them to enable that. The third pillar talks about, meeting the growing expectations from your own customers today, right? So if I look at an organization like yours, which is a government agency, so your key external stakeholders, how you can, meet the demands of those stakeholders. Because as you see, in last 2 years, as COVID has hit us, right, the demands and the expectations are of our own customers has changed, right? So it's important to cater to those changing demands of our customers, so that, we are at the edge of our solution. The fourth pillar talks about, obviously, a very key important, and where we in Microsoft take pride about, is the secure environment that we want to provide, right? So today I think people are accessing content from anywhere and everywhere. So whether you are on the run, whether you are in an office environment, whether you are in a home office, or whether you are, mobile while on the move, right? So it's very important that every touch point which kind of exposes your data of your organization, that's a very secure touch point or an endpoint for you. So that's very important for the leader in your organization to ensure that we have taken care of that secure perimeter of your organization. The fourth aspect is also, which Amit also did touch upon, is the compliance and the regulatory requirements, because we understand we are in an industry where compliance is of utmost requirement. So whether it is the laws that has come into picture, the PII, the data governance rules, all of those concerns, the data residency rules, right? So it's important that we as an organization are complying to those requirements and needs. And hence, keeping in the backdrop these five pillars, how we can look at, that our employees feel empowered, enabled to perform their own day-to-day work. And here, my next few 4 or 5 slides would actually touch upon the last mile workers, right? So the frontline employees who are today running your organization, and I will be going a little bit deep into what are the needs that we have perceived in last few years as we have interviewed these employees, right? We have actually sat with those frontline employees. So whether it is the field worker who is going in the field and collecting some data points, whether it is the healthcare worker, right, who is ensuring that all the health related information that is which is related to women and child care or anything else is getting captured and is getting disseminated back to the head office or to the block office or to the taluka, right? So what we have done, that we have sat with them, we have actually mapped what do these employees do in their 8 9 hours of work hours, right? So if I look at the 8 hours or 9 hours of window of their work time, how are they connecting with the applications, with the systems? Do they have a digital platform where they can key in their records, their data points? How is that getting collated? So as a middle management team, how is this team actually collating that data, and when they are reporting it back to the head offices, right? So that's also very very critical and important in this leg, because the data is getting collected at the last node, right, at the child node, who is the frontline staff for you, and from there it is getting, reported at the regional level, at the block level, and then again going at the head office or at the minister's level, right? So this is where we see technology playing a very very critical role in kind of enabling these people, so that wherever they are located, they can utilize Microsoft Forms to capture data. They can use Power Automate, Power Platform to actually create those workflows, so that they don't need to actually send those data, right? Just where they are capturing this data, whether they are sitting in a village taluka, or whether they are sitting in a health anganwadi scenario, whether they are in a when we are talking about the police force, when they are coordinating any key confidential activity. So all those data points in the real time, how it can kind of reach the right audience, so that the decision makers can take the right decisions at the right time. So that's the power of the tool and the technology that we are talking about. Moving to the next slide, please. Yeah. So, as I mentioned about the five key philosophy or the themes, that's what we kind of believe in Microsoft. These are the five key pillars which will help touch upon every facet of the working of your frontline staff. The first pillar talks about the communication collaboration aspect, because when we are working in a hybrid scenario, when we are working in a remote scenario, we really need to think how we can ensure that our employees are productive, right? So it's and how they are able to collaborate. Now collaboration again opens a lot of different facets for us: how they are collaborating with their peer group, how they are collaborating with their own supervisors, and how they are collaborating and communicating with the leadership team. So these are the 3 4 areas where we need to see that the tool is taking care of all those needs of peer to peer communication, collaboration, sharing of documents, all of that in a real time scenario. So that's the first pillar, which is very very important. And all of this needs to be very in a very secure environment, because that will give the trust to your employee that whatever data that they are sharing, it is going through a very secure route to reach the right stakeholders. The second piece is around digitizing the operations. So I think the whole operational efficiency part, because even today what we have seen, that there are a lot of workflows or approval workflows that is required in a government agencies, right? And these approval workflows go to multiple stakeholders for their approval. So how we can leverage the capabilities of Power Automate, Power Apps, to enable and automate those processes, which is today maybe a part of it is still being done manually, and a part of it is going into the system. So how we can holistically bring a power platform into the picture, and we kind of automate all of those solutions for you, so that as an end user, it's very easy for you to use from a data entry point of view. It is easy for your management to look at the real insights that gets collected through those data entry forms or screens or Power Apps. So that's where I'm talking about the operational efficiency of the processes that we can automate. The third pillar, which is again a very very important pillar, because when we look at the field, right, it's the masses. It's that kind of a volume of resource that we are looking at, and there has been a very high attrition, if you say, in that sector. So it's very important that as you are onboarding new employees in that area, you need to ensure that you are taking care of their skilling needs, because their skilling requirements would be very different to what it is today vis-a-vis what it was 5 years back, right? Because the whole technology roadmap has changed for you. So you need to ensure that you are bridging that technology technology gap, that skilling gap for them by through a platform which will take care of the day to day needs to for them to perform their jobs, like whether it is just following a simple SOP, a standard operating procedure. So the platform actually gives you the capability of, from a modern work perspective, which I'm talking about, the capability to train your employees who are already on the job. So the structured training which you are doing today, you can bring up those training platforms onto this. You can look at a new employee onboarding module, right? We already have a template created, and you can just plug in what all is your critical success factors or critical requirements when you onboard an employee in their first 30 days, right? So there would be a checklist of forms that they need to fill in. There will be a checklist of compliance requirements that they need to fill in. There would be a set of mandatory trainings that they need to go through it, right? So all of this can be bundled in their new employee onboarding power app, which we can, which is already developed, and you can just lift and shift and kind of roll out in your organization. The third piece is you can utilize live events or webinars or record those training programs that you are doing, so that even if an employee today is unable to attend that live session, the recorded training programs can be kept at a learning portal within the solution, and they can access those content in the during the leisure time, right? So they really don't need to be always present during the training sessions. They can consume those small bite-sized videos that has been curated for them while they are free, or during their work hours of 8 hours, 9 hours. Whenever they are free, they can just go to the learning portal and consume those content, right? We also have Yammer communities, which we called as the enterprise social. This platform can be used to bring together the employee well-being part, to bring together employee collaboration part, in the sense that like-minded people, you can create communities of various interest groups, right? And like-minded people can come together, share best practices, share solutions to problems that they have already faced, or the HR or your corporate communication teams, right? They can or the administrative teams that can make use of this platform to use or run some kind of contests that they want to run, in terms of capturing the employee pulse, right? So, or something related to employee well-being. So if they want to run some kind of a survey, so we can utilize such platform to run those and get those insights, when we are trying to sit and look at the data points, how has been the employee engagement on such events. So these platform can help you, gather those insights in a real time scenario. We also have something called Viva Connections, right? So which comes as part of all the seeded Microsoft solutions, right? And what this does is, in a very simple way, if I can explain, you can utilize Viva Connections to build a home app for your organization. Now, what do I mean by a home app? Today, I think all of the organizations have an intranet portal where they get organization news, updates, and all of that, right? So home app is a very, very customized and a personalized experience that you can give to your employee. So if I am a field worker, when I am logging into the home app, I will only see stuffs which is relevant to me, right? Or vis-a-vis, if a senior leadership in your organization logs into that home app, the landing page of that for that senior leadership would be more of a dashboard view, where they need to refer to some real-time dashboards as a leader of your organization and take actions upon. Similarly, the view would be different for a different persona in your organization, and you can curate and decide on what can be that customized and the personalized experience vis-a-vis a very standard same landing page for all your employees. So that's the power of the tool. Along with the AI ML capabilities, we can bring that on and flare it up for you. The fourth pillar talks about the employee culture and community building, right? So how you can create that sense of purpose, so that everyone in your organization feels motivated, their morale is boosted up, and they are aligned to your organization's mission and vision, right? So that they are very, very engaged. And how can you do that? So I mean, of late, I think in last 2 years, the way COVID has moved around, we have seen that there has been a lot of leadership dialogues, right? A lot of town halls being done with the employees to give them the feeling that your leadership is concerned about you, we want to hear you, we want to connect with you. So those are the platforms where you can use the reward and recognition capability within this tool or within this solution, which can help you achieve those morale, small morale boosting initiatives or activities which will give a sense of pride to your employees. So we have something called praise in teams or kudos in teams. So a peer can praise up another peer group in your organization, saying that well done, great job done. Or a supervisor can praise your subordinate, what good job you have done in execution of some XYZ project, or or ensuring a timeline completion of a project. So all these small things, they look very small, but the impact that they create on the employee is huge. And that's where I think the employee well-being, employee morale comes into the picture. And the last but not the least, the very very pertinent and key pillar of our solution is everything that these employees are doing, whether they are doing it from their mobile device, whether they are doing it from their tablets, or whether they are doing it from their desktops or laptops. Whichever device that they are using today, we are ensuring that it is protecting the data of your organization. So whether the employee knows it or not, you as a leader in your organization can ensure that all the solutions that you are rolling out for your employees today is safeguarded, both from a device standpoint and from an application standpoint. So whether there are applications which are web or browser enabled, you need to ensure that those applications are also protected through Microsoft device management or app management, as we call the Microsoft Intune capability. So I'm not getting more detailed into the nitty-gritties of the technical stuffs, but just to give you a uber level, that everything that you access, it's within a very very safe perimeter, right? And that's the trust that we call, that the security is built into our solutions and not bolt out, right? So that's about some of the key capabilities I have listed down below each of the pillars. So whether there is task management in teams, whether there are inbuilt approval workflows. So today, if there is a simple circular resolution approval, you need to kind of create it. Like, you can just do it in a day's time. You really don't need a techie to come and do that for you. Even you as an end user can create that power app or an approval workflow and use it ready made in the organization. Moving ahead to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is just a little bit of glimpse how the IT administration team or the HR team or your leadership team can utilize the platform in a much engaging manner, right? So there are various within Microsoft Teams. So the solution here today I'm talking about is Microsoft Teams, and we do not say Teams is just for an audio video calling or a chatting experience. We call it as a hub for teamwork. It takes care of all the five pillars that I touched upon in the previous slide, right? So it's kind of covering everything, right from your employee collaboration, training needs, development needs, or your process automation pieces, as you operationalize your processes and create those operational efficiency by automating few of your ad hoc processes which are today manual. So you can utilize this platform to do that. Teams meeting, I always also shared that while you are doing these team meetings, so there is a full meeting life cycle, right? You do a set of activities before a meeting starts, right? From agenda being curated, pre-read material being created, some reports that you need to send through that. So all those activities, then you come into the meeting. While you are in the meeting, there is meeting notes being done. There is maybe some survey or polls you need to do while the meeting is on. So all that capabilities is inbuilt into the solution. And post the meeting, if you see, once the minutes of the meeting is created, those minutes of the meeting needs to be assigned to people for them to take action on few of the items which has been discussed in the meeting. So through minutes of meeting being mapped to a task management capability which can assign those action items and give those nudges or notification to those employees that these were the meeting notes being actioned, where you need to take action on by the next meeting or by the next due date. So all that meeting life cycle, right from the start, before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting, everything is inbuilt into the solution itself, right? The third piece is on the walkie talkie. As I was talking, it's a very very interesting scenario. So when anybody wants to have a very very confidential messaging, so for example, when an election is happening in a state, right? During the election, there is a lot of different agencies who come together to discuss very confidential information. So how they can utilize a walkie talkie capability, which can connect different stakeholders. So whether it is people from the revenue team who is doing the budgeting, whether it is people from the police who is doing the guarding of the poll booths, or if something has happened at a particular polling booth, how this walkie talkie can be utilized as a very secure and a confidential way to communicate to the right agency to take action on. So these are some of the capabilities which come inbuilt into the solution, which can help you and ensure that you are empowering your employee, at the same time giving them the right tools and technology for them to action, so that the data in a real time gets captured from whichever location they are working. And when I talk about the frontline workforce, they work in a very very remote areas. So it's important that they leverage this teams platform and the inherent capabilities that I touched upon in those five pillars, to make them stay effective and efficient in their 8 hours 9 hours of job, right? Because a lot of data gets captured, that data gets curated and sent and gets reported at the head office, so all those can be automated through the platform. Next slide please. Yeah, so this is again, as I mentioned, both the new employee onboarding. There is a lot of checklist which is there in the organization. How you can do those data collection, how you can virtually onboard them through Teams meeting call, how you can connect them to a buddy in your organization who can help them while in their onboarding journey for next 30 or 60 days, or you can capture their feedback through forms while they are getting onboarded onto your into your teams, right? Then there is a set of curated training that is already created for people who are into the organization for different years of experience, right? So you can create those training calendars, assign those training to those employees. They can attend if those employees are available. If they are not available, they can access the recording of the meeting when they are free. So this is something on the training, onboarding, and upskilling, which is very very important for a frontline field force, right? Because when they are coming in the organization, they come with a very different background, so it's important to look at those training needs for them. Yeah, moving ahead. I think I'm just coming to the closure of the end of my slides. This is something which I was talking about. All the organizations today have some kind of an intranet, which is very, very unidirectional, right? It's only the organization puts the content which they want the employees to consume. How you can modernize that intranet platform through the Viva connections that I mentioned, right? So that's the capability that I'm talking about. If I access the intranet, I get alerts and notifications to content which I need to do apart from what the organizational news is. Similarly, if my superior or if my supervisor logs in, they get to see different dashboards because their job will be very different. So the tasks which will represent in their home app or Viva Connections home app vis-a-vis mine will be different. So that's the customized and the personalized touch that I'm talking about when we talk about a modern intranet solution. So this is pretty much I wanted to cover, and I think I'm almost on the top of the clock as well. So thank you once again everyone for your time, and hope these use cases were helpful for you. Happy to do a frontline workshop, and feel free to reach out to your account team for running these workshops. We do frontline workshops free of cost, and we can go ahead, hear your pain points, and then map what can be the best solution for your organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Neha, for this engaging presentation, and it was wonderful to have you here with us. Thank you so much for your presence.